Hello and welcome to episode 17 of View from the Sideline podcast. I'm Chris and Rich is here.
Hello, Chris. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Hanging on to Champions League football
Yeah,
by our fingernails.
yeah. So obviously, we're recording this on Tuesday night, where Tottenham and Liverpool, both Champions League places, are in the balance at the moment, but Tottenham are doing enough at the moment, aren't they, Rich?
They are, yeah. They're 1-0 down, but Inter Milan are also losing 1-0. So as long as we match their result, we'll be going through. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I wonder if my mood will deteriorate throughout the podcast tonight.
You've always got the Europa League to fall back on, mate.
Yeah, that's probably why my mood would deteriorate. But anyway, yeah, we'll move on.
Okay, so what is coming up on this week's episode?
So tonight we have the weekly teaser, then we've got the Premier League review, followed by the EFL review from the weekend. Then coming up in part 2, we've got our special topic this week, which is a conversation around the worst football kits. I guess since the Premier League started. So I think there's a few shockers in there. So we'll be talking through that. We'll do a little bit on predictions because we had 2 rounds last week with the midweek games in the Premier League. So we've got 2 weeks worth to catch up on. And then the predictions for the coming weekend. And then we'll do the reveal of the teaser. And then we'll let you know what's coming up next week. And we'll also have some details on our Christmas break. So Chris and I are going to take a well-deserved rest. So we'll let you know when.
Okay,
so you can go straight into the teaser, Chris. Be gentle.
This is going to require some math skills on your part, Rich.
Oh dear.
Because obviously with the special topic this week being around football kits, I've gone for that sort of theme. So when you add these squad numbers together, what is the total amount? So I'll give you the player name, and then you obviously need to remember. Well, you're going to need to know their kit number, and then add them all up. And then
where are the players from?
All Premier League, mate. They're pretty easy.
So not Spurs ones then.
There is a Spurs one in there.
Okay.
Okay, so the players.
Shoot, yeah.
Lacazette.
Oh God, I'm out already.
Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
Lovren.
I'm writing these. Oh my. Yeah.
Kane. And the last one is John Stones. So they've all got. If you know at least 3, you could probably take a stab at the rest. But we'll.
So Lacazette, Hazard, Lovren, Kane, and Stones.
Yeah. So their kit numbers add up to this number.
Players. Yeah.
So,
way to go with the Christmas spirit there, Chris. I frankly have no idea what squad number Lovren or Stones have. Okay, let's move on. If I sound distracted at any point during this episode, it's because I'm trying to figure out that conundrum.
In your head.
Yeah, I don't like my chances, but
to be fair,
can't be that far out.
I've been pretty easy on you the last couple of weeks, so.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll move over to the Premier League review now, and we will start off with the Bournemouth Liverpool game. So Mo Salah not had the same sort of season that he had last season, but I think on Saturday, his hat trick, he was back to what we expected of him. Obviously, after last season's performances.
But I think he's only 1 or 2 goals short of where he was at the same point last season.
I think it was 3 goals he's short at the moment.
Oh, is it 3? Right.
I think it's 3. Yeah. But it was a good start from Bournemouth. But then obviously they get caught out slightly, and the goal was. I thought Begovic could have done a little bit better because he kind of just palms it right back out to Salah, but then when you see the replay, it does look like that Salah is offside. Don't know what your thoughts were on that.
I would have said he's more offside than onside. So I think if he had been flagged offside, I don't think there could have been too many complaints. I agree with Begovic. I don't know. The ball's moving a bit. It's one of
I
those
think it's
ones
the
where
direction of the ball.
yeah, they seem a bit scared to catch it nowadays. They'd rather just sort of palm it out. But he didn't really sort of get it out of harm's way, really. And Salah's kind of, well, I'm not sure he'll score too many easier goals than that. The thing that made me laugh, even when he scored his third one, it's almost as if he just realised that he scored a hat trick and he better go and celebrate in some capacity.
It was
So he sort of just jogged over to the Liverpool fans, and I just thought it was almost as if when a player scores against their old club and they refuse to celebrate.
Maybe
he just looked
scored.
He just looked a bit grumpy, to be honest. But I thought Bournemouth. I agree with you. Bournemouth started all right. I think I always sort of thought Liverpool would probably have too much for them. Bournemouth scored some cracking own goals as well, didn't they?
Yeah, that one at the weekend was another one, and it's another one.
That was a beautiful finish.
If you tried that again 100 times, you probably wouldn't be able to recreate that sort of goal.
No, but they've got quite a high record of own goals. Bournemouth, I think it's the highest in the Premier League over the last 3 or 4 seasons. I think they average a couple a year, which is not great, I suppose. But I thought Liverpool deserved to win it. They just keep on winning.
That's the thing. Well,
no matter what it is, they just keep on winning.
Without spoiling it too much, they're at the top now, aren't they? So yeah.
Oh, you've ruined it now, Chris. You've ruined it.
I can't wait to get to that. I literally cannot wait. Anyway, on to the Arsenal Huddersfield game. Probably quite a frustrating game for Arsenal and Arsenal fans, I think, because they just couldn't break Huddersfield down, and it's taken a late goal for them to actually to win the game. But I would say that Huddersfield had some good chances as well to take the lead in this game. There was a couple, Pritchard had one in the first half that could have easily gone in if he was just a bit more composed. But
credit to Huddersfield. I think you've absolutely got to give credit to them.
Yeah, I felt almost bad that they conceded the goal so late on. It must be so frustrating to hold off for that long and then to go and concede a goal. It must be almost.
Yes, especially as before the game. I'd imagine it's the sort of fixture where they wouldn't necessarily expect to take anything from it. No. But when you're in that position with sort of under 10 minutes to go, you've held them out for the majority of the game, and then you concede. But I don't think it's the end of the world for Huddersfield. I think it's the display gives sort of hope that there is more to come.
Definitely.
It was a bit of a strange game, I thought. I think Arsenal have got a bit of a hangover really from the last 2 games, the Spurs game and then going to Old Trafford to play United. I think they're probably on a bit of a come down, but I think is that 20 games or something undefeated in all competitions, which is credit where it's due. I mean,
but how
they keep getting results.
Closer to the top. I find it hard.
Well,
quite a few of those games.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I think in the last 6, I think they drew 3 in a row in the league. I think they had Wolves, didn't they? They drew. Then they drew at Palace. I can't remember the other team they played, but I think they've drawn 3 of their last 5 or something like that. So
just another quick thing on that game: the bookings for simulation for Arsenal. I know they had a couple of bookings through dives. Not good for them. Let's just say that.
No, it's not. But I think one of them was smack bang in the middle of the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't see the. I don't see the point of I don't see the point of diving at all, really.
No.
But
It just makes
that's
it look so stupid. I just don't understand why it's they find it
well,
necessary to do, but never mind. And
I don't
also
know.
the
Unfortunately, it's part of the
yeah,
game.
did you see the Huddersfield player in the stands at half time giving out shirts to the fans
Yes,
and
yeah.
stuff? That was quite good, right?
Is it Mounier, the
Meunier.
striker?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
So yeah, he was suspended. When he fair play to him.
yeah,
I think
nice little gesture,
it's
isn't
good.
it?
I think it is. I think it is, especially as the fans. I mean, it's not a short journey for them, is it really? And it was
No, no,
so yeah, fair play to him.
yeah,
But I think an expected result with an Arsenal win, but
yeah,
uh, Huddersfield they've got fight in them, and I think I don't know. I change my mind every week, but I think they've got a shot. It wouldn't surprise me if they stayed up at all.
yeah. They have played a lot better in the last few games
Yeah,
compared to
absolutely.
the start of the season. But
Yeah,
yeah. So another team not had a great start to the season, Burnley, and they took on Brighton, and obviously they'll be relieved that they get a win here because obviously they've had some not great
this was the
results, shall we say?
this was probably the biggest surprise for me over the weekend.
Yeah,
Especially the way Brighton have been playing and the way Burnley just sort of ship goals week in, week out. Um, I was quite surprised by it, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, a great points for Burnley, and I just think it sort of halts Brighton sort of good form a little bit. Really, I don't.
yeah.
It wasn't a great game.
No, it wasn't.
Um,
It was nowhere near great.
no,
Hence why,
I think Burnley probably just edged it. But I
yeah.
mean, it could have gone either
So
way. I'm not.
they
There's the
they changed their sort of tactical approach. I think it was noticed in the analysis after the game that they switched to two up front, where they haven't been doing that recent weeks. They've been playing a lot more defensively. So they've put two up top, ended up winning the game and actually getting a clean sheet. So maybe for them it might be something that they can work on. But it was a bit of the goal from the it was a bit of a mess, really, to be honest with you.
yeah, he's claiming it though, isn't he? The centre half. I can't. His name
Yeah,
escapes me at the moment, but it's
yeah,
sort of it almost just brushed his shirt, didn't it? But
yeah. Can
I
you
guess it
claim a
touched him
shirt though?
last.
But yeah, I suppose it'll be.
Well, I think he's claiming it. I don't think I'm not sure it's going to go to the dubious goals panel. I think they'll probably give him the goal, but
Yeah,
it almost just seemed to from Tarkovsky, isn't it? Yeah, sorry, the centre half. Yeah, I think.
good job you
I
said
mean,
his name because
I don't even know if that's right. I thought it was the people that do them in
Oh
crystal
dear.
earrings.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Inter
What's
Milan
that?
have scored.
Have they?
Yeah,
Oh,
Icardi's just scored. Oh, he's top.
all right.
Oh, all right, here we
Uh,
go. It's the
I'm,
decline of decline of the moves.
yeah,
Cuts here. We'll move
I'm
on.
logging
We'll
off.
quickly move on to the Cardiff. Yeah, look, Cardiff Southampton game. Look, this will cheer you up. So another win for Cardiff, and what a turnaround it is at the moment for them. They didn't have again didn't have a great start to the season, but they have really ramped up in the last couple of weeks, haven't they?
They're now they're 5 points ahead of Saints now. That's the sort of turnaround they've had.
Yeah,
They've won 3 of their last 5, and I think Saints haven't won in 11. I think it's like 11 games Saints haven't won
yeah.
for.
I was to be fair when I before the match, I probably would have said Cardiff to win this one, so I wasn't actually surprised. I know you sometimes get that new manager sort of win when when he gets his first game, but um, no, I wasn't surprised at all. But when looking back on it though, Southampton, could they have had two penalties?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you've seen them given. I wouldn't necessarily
Yeah,
say they're stonewalls, but I don't think that's almost an excuse now.
it
I
is.
think I don't.
Yeah,
I wasn't surprised in the slightest that Cardiff won that game. And I know that I won't even try and pronounce the manager's name, the new
Go on.
Saints manager, but I
Yeah.
don't. It's probably the first time in a long time that I don't feel that they're going to get the so-called new manager bounce, because
No.
I just think it's the players. I just think this is for me, this is the main difference between like Huddersfield, Fulham, Cardiff. Well, maybe not so much Fulham, but I think they've got more fight than Saints have. But they just lack that sort of. They don't look like they're going to give everything to win
No.
a game. Not like Huddersfield do, or like Cardiff now do. They just look very lackluster, and I don't really think it matters who had gone in there, really, because I don't think they're going to do much difference to what Mark Hughes did. I think he
What?
made four or
Yeah.
five changes, and it I wouldn't say from what I saw of that game, I wouldn't say they played any better than they have been
So do you
for the
think
season so far.
he's come in there and basically, I would imagine that the discussion with the board would have been, keep us up, please. But if you don't keep us up, if we go down, your job's probably still safe.
Yeah,
I think
but
that's.
would it? But would he want to? Would he want to manage in the championship?
Yeah, that's a good point. But
I mean, I
he
don't.
must be taking that job with the understanding that that could well happen.
Well, yeah, of
Is he?
course he is. I mean,
Yeah.
they're in the relegation zone. I mean, there's got to be an element of him that knows that they're in trouble. Assuming he follows the Premier League, which I would guess he does. But I've they just don't seem to have what it takes. I don't think that they need to have a serious sort of shake up
Mm.
in the January window if they're gonna
But
seriously think about staying up.
the board. Do you think the board would be willing to spend money, knowing that there's a possibility in the position that they're in that they could go down? I just think it's always one of those risks that I personally I would take the risk in buying new players because
Yeah, I would. I mean,
the
that's why you want to stay in the champ. I think that
yeah,
from what they did last year, where they brought Hughes in to try and shake it up a bit to stay in the league. I mean, I think the only reason they stayed in the league last year was because there were three teams that were worse than them, even if it was just slightly worse. But this year, I don't think there is. I'm not sure the three teams that are worse than
I think
Southampton the way they're playing at the moment.
I think at the moment they probably have the worst team. But that's just me. Maybe
Well,
apart from
no, I
Fulham, but
don't disagree with you. I just obviously, I mean, living in Southampton, you hear a lot of Saints fans talking about it, and I just find it hard to agree with some of the things they say. Like they should have won because of this, and this decision went against them. But they haven't had decisions against them for the last 11 games, and they haven't
no,
won.
not every
So
no every game.
it's only at a certain point the excuses sort of have to stop, and they have to have a look at themselves and think that they're in trouble. They're in proper trouble.
All right,
And I think they go to do they go to Arsenal? I think or Arsenal that they've got
thanks.
Arsenal at home at the
Yeah,
weekend.
I think
It
so.
doesn't get
Yeah.
much easier.
Anyway, Manchester United versus Fulham. Obviously, a much needed win for Mourinho and for Man United. But for Fulham, it's kind of like a one step forward, two steps back with them at the moment. Um, their defending is awful. It just doesn't get any better. I thought maybe if he picked the same back four, maybe there was a bit of stability, but not even that looks like it's working at the moment. I know they've had some tough games recently. I'm probably being a bit hard on them, but you know, they
But
made Man United look a lot better than what I think Man United actually played. I think it's one
yeah,
of those
but they they
cases.
they, they don't help themselves, do they? Really?
No,
I mean, they're 3-0 down at half time. I think Roy Hodgson hit the nail on the head when he said it was lions against lambs. I think there was just such a difference in
Yeah.
yeah, I think there was a difference in class, but I think it's the first time in a while I've seen United play where they actually seem like they want to win it. I think they went out to try and prove a point, but
Yeah, it was
I,
made
I
a
don't I
lot
don't
easier. A
yeah,
lot easier
absolutely. I
for
mean, I
them.
think it was a game that they were expected to win, and I don't think they disappointed. I mean, beating Fulham 4-1 doesn't well, it certainly it doesn't make me think, oh, everything's okay now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's not. I don't think it covers any sort of cracks up amongst the club itself, but
No, but I mean
for now they'll be
they go to
happy.
Anfield. They go to Anfield at the weekend, and I can't see them beating Liverpool,
No,
but I could see them beating Fulham. Never a sending off though.
no,
That was a
that's what I
very
thought. The poor
strange
guy,
decision.
the poor, the poor guy was trying to not like touch him, wasn't he? He was had his hands in the air on the floor, and he's like, "No, don't fall over me because I'm gonna
Yeah,
get sent off."
it
Yeah, I
was
thought it was
very
harsh. Yeah,
it was a strange
God.
second booking, which yeah, I
And I
wasn't
think
convinced by it at all.
the Rashford goal, the fourth goal, I think any keeper that gets beaten at his near post from that sort of angle, I think probably doesn't deserve to be playing next week. To be honest,
Well,
not
no,
not
I think
not
Fulham
his
have got
finest
some.
moment.
I think Fulham have got some serious sort of questions in January as well. I mean, they're not out of it. They're not out of it the same as Saints, but
No.
something's got to change, and it's got to change quickly if they want to stay in the division.
So the next game is the West Ham Palace game. A thoroughly enjoyable game. That was my
God.
notes.
Well, I mean, West
I
Ham
quite enjoyed it. You
three
know,
wins in a row, three goals scored in each game. I thought it was a good game. I thought
yeah,
West Ham
back and
played
forth.
really well. I thought um, Felipe Anderson. I mean, he looks a player, doesn't he?
There is
He looks
no shadow of doubt that he, by come May, June, someone is going to have put in a bid for him.
yeah,
How on earth,
probably.
like whoever scouted him at West Ham, they deserve a pay rise because his goals and the way that he plays, I think it brings a whole new element for West Ham when they go forward.
Yeah,
Some of the
I
goals he
agree
can
with you,
score,
but
he can bend it so well into the corners. It's unbelievable.
he was. I heard this over the weekend. He was being scouted by the top clubs in Europe. And then he had quite a severe dip in form by all accounts, and a lot of them lost interest in him, which I wouldn't then say he sort of goes to a lesser team in West Ham, but I think that's
No,
what
no,
opened the door for them to sign him. But I completely agree with you. If he carries on the way he is, come the summer, then I think there's going to be some serious. It reminds me a bit of Payet, where it doesn't get too big for the club, but he
no.
sort of becomes, unless they're going to fulfil their potential. But West Ham are exciting to watch at the moment. I think it's a good time for them. Like I say, three wins in a row, scored
Yeah,
3 goals in each game.
Hernandez is come out of his shell again, hasn't he? Like in the last
Yeah,
couple of games, scoring goals. I see
and
Andy Carroll was back as well, so
yeah,
that's
and
another option for them.
they're always a bit suspect at the back, so you know there's going to be
Well, yeah, as
goals.
long as they can keep scoring the goals, I don't think they'll be that fussed.
Yeah,
Um,
they're like Newcastle under Keegan. It's like you score two, we'll score three.
yeah,
But no, I mean they're climbing up the table. They're I think they're sort of in the battle for sixth place with a number of other teams at the moment. So
yeah. Consider,
I like the way they play. That
remember
they
back in August and September, they were bottom of the league, weren't they? Remember, they didn't
yeah
win a game. So
yeah, and they spent all that money and nothing was gelling. I think it's sort of well, you know what'll happen.
it was
They'll
just
lose
one of
their
those.
next three
Yeah,
now,
they'll
but
lose. Yeah. But I think it was just they needed that win to kick-start things. I know they haven't won every game since they got their first win, but they're winning the games they should be winning, and then like you said, they're playing good football as well. So I
yeah,
think if
I
you're a West
agree.
Ham fan, you'd be very happy.
Yeah,
Anyway, next is the big game of the weekend. The one that has probably kept me smiling throughout the whole weekend and still to this day.
What, the Spurs-Leicester game? Oh, that's
No,
very
mate, that was
kind
the
of you,
game.
Chris.
That was the game after that nobody watched.
I did.
So, well, I actually watched it as well. I can't say much. What a win for Chelsea. You know, they said Man City could not be beaten, but I'll let you know on a little secret, Rich. They can be beaten, and
They can be
they proved that.
beaten.
You know, I'm
It was
not.
a bit.
If
What's that?
Tottenham equalise, do they still go through?
Yeah, because we just need to match their result.
Well, my friend, with 5 minutes to go, Tottenham have scored. Unbelievable. Just as I was about to start to talk about Chelsea,
I'm gonna refrain. I'm gonna.
your team have just. It was Lucas Moura that scored the goal, mate.
Ooh.
You can mute the mic if you want, and you can have a little cheer to yourself.
No, I'll refrain from commenting until until the final whistle goes.
Mate, what a result that would be as well at Nou Camp. Anyway, you're not ruining my moment of glory here. Chelsea did not play well in the first half. I think that's, if you watch the game, it was very clear that I think for the first 40 minutes of that game, it looked very much like Man City were gonna score eventually, but Chelsea were resilient. This is probably the best defensively I've seen them this season. David Luiz, after two horrendous couple of games, from nowhere, he ends up getting man of the match for the game. Azpilicueta put his body on the line for everything that was coming in. We get the goal. It's kind of one of those, I think they call it smash and grab goals.
I was going to say, yeah.
First shot on target, the game. And then second half was completely different. I think the goal rocked Man City. I didn't think that they really knew what to do after going behind. With no Aguero in the team, Jesus didn't start. They put Sterling up front. Brought Jesus on, and when they brought him on, they were actually even worse than what they were to start with. But I think any Chelsea fan would be really happy with that result. But second half, so much better. For so many games, when we go 1-0 up, we sit back too much. I've always said it, we sit back far too much when we go 1-0. 1-0 is not safe at all. But
it's almost the worst score you can have.
Yeah. But on Saturday, we actually went out there in the second half and tried to get another goal. And I don't think Man City coped with that very well. Because not a lot of teams, when they play Man City, go out and attack them. They normally sit back and wait to get them on the counter, which is exactly what they did first half, Chelsea. But second half, I don't know what he said to them at half time, but he could obviously see when we did attack, they were vulnerable. But yeah.
This is the yo-yo emotions of being a Chelsea fan, Chris. If you think back to a couple of days ago against Wolves, anyone would think you're going to win the league now.
I'm not saying we're going to win the league. I'm just saying it was a good result. That's all.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I do think it was a bit of a smash and grab win. If I'm honest, they score with their first shot on target. They score the second from their first corner of the game. I think the City pretty much dominated that first half, and the goal was completely against the run of play. But I think that City, if there's one thing about them, I think they look a different team when they're up against it when Aguero's not playing. I know he played Sterling up front or through the middle, which I'm not sure that's where he's most effective.
Well,
he certainly
he wasn't great in front of the goal.
Been his, but I don't. All credit to. I wasn't convinced that City would go the whole season without losing. I don't think Liverpool will either. So I think that's sort of the. But they were going to lose to win lost their first game against Spurs.
I don't
Credit
think.
where
Yeah,
it's due,
yeah.
Chris. So
Thank you. So I was just
I
waiting for you
will.
to say that.
I will. I would. You can't say they didn't deserve it because I think they probably did deserve it. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what the next. I think the thing with Chelsea is it's about continuing that momentum now.
Consistency. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, next up,
Well, we will.
the lesser game of the two evening kickoffs. Leicester versus Spurs. Rich, go on then, take us away.
Well, I think we were clearly resting players for tonight's game, is what I would say.
Clearly works so far.
So I thought if inspiring performance, I thought that Spurs, I thought they deserved to win it. I think they had the better of the chances. Leicester always look dangerous because they've got a lot of pace. But I don't think Lloris was ever hugely troubled.
I couldn't actually think of a time when he was actually had to make a good save. I don't.
No, I
You
don't
know, I
think he had to make an
couldn't
out
think
of
of
the
any.
ordinary save.
Yeah,
I think Son's goal right before half time was a killer blow and a great finish.
trust me, good goal.
Yeah, it was literally out of nothing with his weaker foot as well. And I thought the best thing for Spurs was Dele Alli's performance. I thought he played really well. I thought he looked back to his best.
That time he turned up,
Um,
wasn't it?
well, yeah, it was really. But I thought we looked good. I thought they were solid. I thought it was a game where when I first saw the team sheet, I thought that it could be one of those away at Leicester after Leicester have had a few good results lately that they could test us. And you'd probably be happy to get away with a point. But I was impressed with Spurs. I thought they played well. I thought they were good
Yeah,
at the back.
it was one of those sort of run-of-the-mill games for Tottenham. I don't think that they were extremely tested at all by Leicester. Did
No,
what
and
was needed.
especially when you think they played after Liverpool had played, after Arsenal had played, and after Chelsea had played.
Yeah,
So the pressure was on them because within the space of the afternoon they dropped down to fifth. Obviously they had the game in hand, but there's always that little bit of pressure. So no, I thought it was a good deserved win, a good performance, and if they hang on to it's happy days, I can continue the Europa League jibes at you, Chris, which will be most enjoyable.
Inter Milan might.
You're not so happy about that. Well, they
I'm
might
not
do.
fussed. I'm not fussed. I said to you earlier on that I'd be happy if Tottenham went through.
I think
I
we
did.
could have all the English clubs through, so
Be
that's not a
good.
bad
It
thing.
will be good. Anyway, we'll move on to Sunday's game, which was Newcastle Wolves. Second win this week for Wolves, obviously after they won midweek as well. So it was a very even game, even after the sending off, which I know a lot of people have said that they didn't think it was a sending off. I think the replays show that it was definitely a sending off. But it was a late goal, obviously a very late goal for Wolves to score. But yeah, obviously they're back up in the top half now. And then after Newcastle winning 3 games in a row, they've now not won in 3. So back to their sort of up and down season.
Yeah, but I think from a Newcastle perspective, they have got that little bit of a cushion now back to the relegation zone. I think they're
Yeah.
3 points out of relegation.
Yeah,
Like you say, that they've had a little run of winning games, and now they're losing a few. They're a bit too inconsistent for me, but I think Wolves are also a bit inconsistent, but they're almost at the other end. Wolves are a team where, because of how they've played this season, you probably expect more from them. So when they don't put in a performance or when they don't get a result, you're surprised by it. Whereas I think sometimes with Newcastle, with the greatest of respect, you're probably more you know they're inconsistent, but you're probably more surprised when they win.
yeah.
because they will go to Everton and they will get a good point in it in a 1-1 draw, but then they'll go to Wolves. They'll play home to Wolves, and they don't seem to. Oh, Spurs have just drawn. Final whistle's just gone. They don't seem to carry that momentum in from the previous performance to keep that consistency up.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm with you. I think it was a sending off. I think it's a cruel way to lose a game by conceding a goal in with literally like the last kick of the game.
After being down, yeah.
Always going to be that. There's always going to be that debate about the sending off, especially in the circumstances. I would imagine it would be if they'd taken a point from it. The conversation around it may have been slightly less intense.
Yeah, so we'll move on to last night's game, which was the Everton Watford game, which probably had everything in it that you could think of that would happen in a football match. So obviously Everton take the lead early on through Richarlison's goal, and then a crazy 5 minutes in the second half where there's an own goal, then Watford take the lead, and then Everton miss penalty, and then end up scoring in the 96th minute. It was one of those games. It was crazy.
It was a strange game, and I think it almost sums up how I feel. That I feel that they've got so much promise, but they never seem to fulfill it, and they almost. I'm not sure what the word is, but they play really well in the first half. They take the lead. They're almost in complete control of the game. But like we say, 1-0 is a very dangerous score line. And then in the space of 5 minutes, the game's completely turned on its head. Obviously, missing a penalty doesn't help. But for me, Everton should be winning games like that if they want to fulfil the potential that they have to be a top 6 club. But they never seemed just when you think they're getting there. I don't have anything against Everton, by the way. I just find them one of the most frustrating teams.
Inter Milan have drawn.
On a good note, yes.
Yeah.
Spurs are going to win the Champions League. You heard it here first.
No, they're not going to win the Champions League. Right, I've had enough of that now. Anyway, right, we'll move on to the EFL reviews. And Rich is up first with the Championship and League.
I could do a Champions League review if you want, Chris.
No, we do not need to hear that right now.
No.
Carry on.
Okay. We'll talk about that later.
Right, we will
right, okay. So in the EFL, so starting off in the Championship, as with previous weeks, Norwich won again, so they remain a point clear.
That must be.
I think it's 4. I think it's 4 of their last 5 they've won, but before that, I think there's sort of 8 or 9 of their last 10 they've won. But yeah, they were made to work hard for it over the weekend. They played Bolton at home and they won 3-2. So Norwich were 2-0 up, but Bolton got it back to 2-2, and then as they've done a few times over the last month or so, they got a late winner. So the 93rd minute, they got the winner to win 3-2. Leeds stay in second. They got their 4th win in a row, coming from behind to beat QPR 2-1 at home. Sheffield United are up to 3rd. They beat Reading 2-0 away in the late kickoff on Saturday. And Derby are up to 4th after a away win against Wigan. So all of the top 4 in the Championship winning. The remaining playoff places, so they're filled by West Brom in 5th. They got a point at home against Midlands rivals Aston Villa on Friday night. That was 2-2. Villa involved in a lot of goals lately. Never a dull game at the moment. No. Middlesbrough 6th. They got a 1-1 draw at home to Blackburn, but turned out to be quite a good point because they played most of the game with 10 men after Bezic was sent off. He got sent off in the 21st minute. So, yeah, Middlesbrough played pretty much 3/4 of the game, if not more, with 10 men. So it's pretty close at the top. Only 7 points separate Sheffield United in third and Blackburn in 11th. So with a championship, normally Saturday, then midweek, it only takes a couple of wins, and you'd be mid-table. You could be in the playoffs. Again, as we seem to say the same thing every week. So the bottom three is the same. So all the teams in the bottom three lost at the weekend. Ipswich, they look gone already, and they've just sacked their manager. I think Paul Lambert was in charge. I think he's just gone in the last week or so. They lost 2-0 away at Stoke, which means that they've only taken 1 point from their last 5 games. And they are 7 points behind Bolton, who are in 23rd, so 1 place above them. So 7 points adrift already. So Bolton are in 23rd, but as mentioned, they lost 3-2 away at Norwich, and Reading in 22nd fell to a 2-0 home defeat against Sheffield United. There's only 9 wins between the 3 teams in the relegation zone all season, which is terrible, really. Ipswich have only got 1 win. Ipswich have got 1 win all season. In League One, so there was a game tonight. So Portsmouth played Charlton tonight, and I think Charlton have won 2-1. So it's Pompey's first defeat in quite a while. But from the weekend, they are still top of the league. They beat Southend 2-0 at home, which at the time was their 4th win in a row. They are 6. Yeah, they're 6 points clear. Well, today was only their 2nd defeat of the season. And tonight was their game in hand on 2nd place Luton, and Luton beat Fleetwood 2-0 at home, which was also their 4th win in a row. Sunderland dropped to 3rd as their game against Accrington was abandoned. It wasn't postponed due to international call-ups as previously, but I'm not sure what they do with this, because it was 1-1 and it was abandoned after 75 minutes due to bad weather. So I'm not sure if they replay the game or if they just play the last 15 minutes. I'm not sure what they do. Do you know?
I'm not sure. No, it seems odd that they play the whole game again, wouldn't it? But then just seems
I don't know what they actually do. But
so what was this? It was 1-1, did you say?
Yeah, it was 1-1 when it was postponed.
Give them a point each.
I think they must just play the last 15 minutes, but what about fans and that? Do they turn up for 15? We need to find out about that. Let's try and find out what happens.
We will.
But yeah, so Sunderland have now got 2 games in hand over Luton in 2nd and are only a point behind. So you'd imagine the form Sunderland are in, they should go up to 2nd, and then they'll be catching Pompey after tonight's defeat. Peterborough stay in 4th, despite only getting a 2-2 draw at home against Oxford. Yeah, they have. Yeah, they were winning all the time. Barnsley as well. So they're in 5th. They suffered their 2nd defeat in a row, falling to a 1-0 defeat away to Wickham. Doncaster make up the final playoff place in 6th with their 2nd win in a row. They beat Bristol Rovers 4-0 away, which was a good result. None of the bottom 4 won at the weekend, but the bottom 3 did all get draws. So bottom place Bradford, they shared 6 goals in a 3-3 draw against Plymouth. Wimbledon in 23rd drew 1-1 at home to Rochdale. Plymouth are in 22nd, as mentioned. They got a point in a 3-3 draw. Bristol Rovers make up the relegation places in 21st, and they fell 4-0 to Doncaster. So there's now a 4-point gap from Bristol Rovers to Scunthorpe in 20th. So the bottom 4 are being cut adrift slightly, but it's the same in the Championship, really. It's just been the same 3 teams for a long, long time. So League 2, Chris.
So League 2, top of the table MK Dons recorded a 2-0 victory over Carlisle. That's only 5 points dropped in their last 10 games for MK Dons now. So they are the informed team at the moment in League 2. Lincoln in 2nd beat Stevenage away by a goal to 0. Third place Colchester also won 1-0 against bottom side Macclesfield. Bury make it no defeat in 5 with a 2-0 win over Exeter and move up to 4th. Mansfield beat Notts County 2-0 to move up to 5th. They moved up because Newport lost 2-1 away to Swindon. So they've moved down to 6th and still hold a negative goal difference. Now back to -2. So they've still not clawed that back yet. Tranmere remain in 7th after a 1-0 win over Cambridge. So only one of the top 7 teams in League Two conceded a goal this weekend. And that was Newport because they lost. So the other 6 teams did not concede a single goal between them. So bottom end of the table, as I mentioned, Colchester beat Macclesfield, so Macclesfield remain bottom and 6 points from safety now. Sol Campbell has definitely got his work cut out there. And Notts County remain in 23rd after they lost to Mansfield. But I did want to mention this game as well because I know it helped you out on predictions. But this is just unbelievable.
What a game. What is wrong with them?
So, like I said, I'll just mention this. So Yeovil Town 1 up into the 90th minute, and Forest Green are down to 10 men at this point as well. Forest Green scored 2 goals in stoppage, 92nd and 95th minute. Unbelievable. How does that even happen? How is the guy that scored the first goal? He used to play for Yeovil as well, Ruben Reid. So yeah, how do
it's
you
terrible, isn't it?
It's just, well, as you can tell, obviously after the game, I checked the Twitter. Not great.
They haven't got a result for a long time, have they?
No.
Ever since we sort of spoke about the manager signing the new contract and they were in an okay place, they just seem to have crumbled since then.
I don't think you can get any worse than that on Saturday. Being 1-0 up, the other team down to 10 men. And you end up losing
Forest Green are an okay side. If you look at the table, I mean, they're
near the top.
They're sort of
points off the playoffs.
They're comfortably in the top half, but 1-0 up in injury time against 10 men. There's no way you should be losing that.
That is something that would happen on a computer game, and it's just I was so shocked. Literally, it's one of those. I checked the result. They were 1-0 up, 91st minute. Thought, well, they've won that, and then checked back like 20 minutes later when I'm looking through all the prediction stuff, and then they'd lost. Oh, what a howler!
Great, mate.
That's so bad. Anyway, that was the EFL reviews, and that is the end of part 1. But we'll be back in part 2 with our special topic, which is looking at some of our, I suppose, favourite, best, worst football kits. I don't know. We'll also have a bit on predictions because we've got 2 lots, I believe. So we had last midweek games and the weekend just gone. The teaser reveal, and then like Rich mentioned, we're just going to go through upcoming podcasts. So we will see you in part 2.
I'm trying to find out if they replay a match or not.
They must. I reckon they have to replay the whole thing. I've got a feeling.
It's after a time. If the match passes a certain time, they don't replay it. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Viewed from the Sideline podcast, where we can confirm that Spurs have qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League after going to the Nou Camp tonight against all the odds and securing a 1-1 draw against Barcelona, which we've been getting messages in from some people in the first half of the show, and I will gratefully reply to them shortly after the game turned around and Spurs look like the better team in the last 10 minutes. But anyway,
just want you to know that Chelsea did that in the semi-finals of the Champions League when we won it, and we actually got a draw there with 10 men. So yeah.
When was that, Chris?
That was the year that we won it.
What year was that? Because that reminds me, I must update my subscription to the History Channel because anyway. So special topic tonight is football kits, and some of the best ones we've seen, some of the worst ones we've seen. I'm sure over the years we've all had a replica shirt. I think they're sort of more fashion accessories these days when you look at some of the ones that there were over the years, especially in the early days of the Premier League. So
So the
uh,
early 90s, they're just awash with kits, aren't they? I don't know who designed these things, but just looking at them, I don't know what they thought the fashion was back then.
yeah,
But,
the one that always stood out for me. Well, there's two really. I think there was there was the Norwich home kit in, I think it was the early 90s, might have been the 92-93
that was the
season.
first season of the Premier League. I know exactly
Right.
which kit you're thinking about
Yeah,
now as well.
and it looks almost like a child has just scribbled with a
Scribbled
green
on it.
pen over a yellow bit of paper.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I think was probably one of the main reasons that the back of football shirts these days are sort of a plain colour, so you can actually see who the player is.
That must be a
Uh,
nightmare
uh,
for commentators, mustn't
with
it?
the
When they just
Yeah, but it was I think it was almost sort of typical of that era with football kits. I don't think any of them were
well, you see
that
the
sort of
ones.
great at the time. But just on the colour, the other one that sticks out for me, but I bet they sold so many shirts, was the United one around the same sort of time, the green and yellow, half and
So this is
half,
the half and half shirt, isn't it? The sharp one
with
with sharp
the
on it.
almost lace up neck
Yeah, I've never been a
bit.
fan of those sorts of like. Never
No,
understood
but
that.
that was that wasn't the greatest kit.
No,
That wasn't their greatest kit at all. I don't think. They're sort of the main two from sort of maybe 20 years ago that I would not like to see come back.
no.
There's a lot of I think there's a lot of retro shirts that are almost becoming fashionable
Well,
again now. But I don't
you can
think.
buy a lot of these shirts now, can't you? These replica shirts from the 90s that
Yeah, but I
aren't as
don't think
fashionable, but people are wearing them. You know,
I don't think you'll see many people wandering around in those two. In those two
no.
anyway, especially
I
not the
think
Norwich one.
another away kit that springs to mind is a bit more recent. It's the Newcastle away shirt from the 2015-2016 season. It's a yellow striped number. It was bright yellow and it had almost like a darker yellow stripes going down the middle of it. I don't know what they were thinking about when they created that kit, but that is not not very good at all.
But
Um,
someone must get
who
paid a lot
signs
of
these
money to
things off?
design them.
Yeah. Do you think the players get any input on what they're going to wear?
Oh, I wouldn't have
Just
thought the players do.
because
I
you look
wouldn't have
back
thought. I
to
wouldn't have thought they get.
the Arsenal away shirt in 1992, it's got like lightning bolts through it. I don't understand. I think patterns were more in back then because even if you look at some of the foreign kit, especially goalkeepers kits in the 90s were very vibrant colours, weren't they? I think even England had one, didn't they? It was a kind of red and it had just squares and different colours on it. I always thought maybe there was
Yeah,
something
but
behind it, trying to put the striker off. He looked at the shirt and just blinded him.
I don't think you don't see many kids or adults walking around in goalie shirts, do you? I
Do you feel sorry
do
for
wonder because a
goalkeepers?
lot.
Because you never see.
No,
You're
I
right.
don't
You
feel
never really
sorry for
see.
them.
You don't go to a club shop and you
I
think
don't
of
feel.
all the players I'm going to choose. I think I'll choose the goalkeeper's shirt.
No, but I don't. But I do wonder whether that's why a lot of keepers wear short sleeve shirts these days, because it's more appealing for
Try
fans
and
to
get in
buy
on the
them.
action.
I
Yeah,
don't.
maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think long sleeve shirts are the way to go. I'm just going to throw this one at you, Chris, just to get your views. So in a poll of the 20 worst Premier League shirts of all
Yeah.
time, at number 17 is one of Chelsea's
You're not
not
going on about
greatest
this grey and
achievements,
orange
I would
number again,
say.
are you?
No, the
Oh,
2007-2008 away kit, which was the yellow top with the black trims and sort of the black pattern on the front.
I
Do you
quite like
remember
that
that
one.
one?
Yeah,
Well, it's been
I
ranked
had that one.
the 17th
I'd say they'd
worst
have
Premier
worse.
League kit.
I think 3 years later they had an away kit that was a luminous green. I had that kit. I had
Yeah,
Pizarro written on the
that wasn't bad. Oh, Chris. Oh
I've had
dear.
some howlers on the back of my kits, mate. I've had some real bad choices. I had in 2005. I had a. It was when they had the black away kit and had silver writing on it, and I had Kesman written on the back of that one. Yeah, I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I was just trying to be different.
the,
Speaking with
the,
Chelsea, right?
the
This kit.
first.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say the first name I ever had on the back of a football shirt was Nick Barmby on my Spurs shirt, and it was that long ago that you used to. It was before they started printing. I don't think you could get the printing done, and you had to buy iron-on felt. So I had to cut the letters and the number out myself, and it was awful. It was absolutely
Did it
terrible.
say? Did it
I'm not
say
even sure. I'm not
Brandy?
even sure.
Did
I'm
you
not. Yeah, I
spell
was
it
gonna say I'm not even sure I spelt. No, I
Brandy?
don't think I did. I don't think I did. But
So
that
yeah,
yeah, that was the first one I had.
a lot.
I'm not. I know it's going off topic slightly, but I'm not a fan of, as a football fan, having a name and number on the back of your shirt.
I used to be, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm not that fussed anymore. To be honest, I think it's more of a.
Especially putting Claudio
Young.
Pizarro on the back, Chris. I mean, crikey.
Do you know he's still playing? He's 40 and he's still playing for one of the German teams. I seen him on.
Well,
I
that's
seen
because
him
people
come
like
on.
you were still putting his name on your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible, Chris. Terrible.
Um, so one kit that does get a lot of stick, which has probably been my favourite Chelsea kit, is the grey and orange one, which I thought you were going to mention from the 94-96 season.
No,
Is
that's
the
a
away one.
horrible kit. That's a horrible
I
kit.
have tried long and hard to try and find this kit because I would honestly, if I found it and I could buy it, I'd probably buy it just
No,
because
I'm
I'd
not
get
a
Hullet
fan of
written on
that
the
one.
back of it. I'd actually walk around with a
No.
shirt that had Hullet on the back of it. Love
Oh
that kit.
well, uh, uh, that kind of. So right, okay. So the orange and grey one.
Yeah,
Is that the one you're talking about? Chris, I'm going to break this to you, and I'm going to break it to you
course,
very gently.
cause written on it.
Yeah, the poll that I was referring to,
Yeah,
which is from 442, ranked the 20 worst Premier League kits.
if you're
That
saying
comes in
that's
at
on
number
there,
one.
well,
That comes
I've
in at number
I've
one. And do
never
you know what the
liked that
headline
website
is?
to be honest with you.
Do you know what the headline is, Chris?
What?
Even Rude Hullet couldn't pull off the slapdash mishmash of greys, blues, and oranges.
That
And
website
I'm
said it
quoting you. Huh?
for you
That
then. 4 what? 4
four
who?
four
That's
four
what we're
four
calling
four
for.
two 442
Yeah.
worst, the 20 worst Premier League kits. Chelsea away from the
Right.
94 to
Well,
96 season
people
is
who
ranked
listen to
the
this
worst one.
podcast, do not ever go on that website ever again.
I'm just gonna
Just
I'm
like,
gonna I'm just gonna quote you one more time. The overall result of this kit was the Mona Lisa of ropey football kits. Not my words, Chris. The words of 442.
never like that formation, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to like that website.
It,
Anyway,
it even comes in ahead of Nottingham Forest's yellow and black
what about
and
the
red
whole City Tigers
mismatch
one? The one
from
that
from the 94 95 season.
seriously, that was ranked number one.
It is on there. I will, if you would like, I'll send you the link so you
I
can
don't
put
want
it
to see it.
on social media.
Do not send me that link. Um, it took me a while, Rich. I'm not going to lie, to find a Tottenham shirt because they normally have pretty straightforward shirts. To be honest with you, it's either
Yeah,
white.
I'm always a fan of the Spurs kits, even like this the sort of second and third.
Right.
The worst one I can remember off the top of my head, and I don't know if this is the one that you've got. But you tell me, and then I'll let you know
So
which one
the
mine is.
worst one, and this is pretty awful. I'm not even sure if they wore this kit, but it was a special edition kit for their 125 years
Yeah, they wore it
in
against Villa. They
oh
wore it
07, oh 08
against a
season, and
one-off
it was
game
white,
against Villa, and that
white and
half white,
blue.
half blue.
Yeah, awful. Could they
Yeah,
have
they
got
wore that,
for a special
and
edition? Could they not have got something a little bit better than that?
I think it's to do with the colours of the club and its history. But the game they wore it in, I think it may have ended 3-3 or 4-all against Villa, and Yunus Kabul got a last minute equaliser, but it was only worn. I think it was only worn
Just
once.
for one, it was the only kit that I could
Yeah,
find was different to all the rest. You all have white kits. You don't have anything else. Yeah,
yeah, but you take a look through this very respectable website, which is 442.com.
you stop
Uh,
promoting that
the
website.
the majority of the kits are away kits; they're not home kits. So
No,
I
I
think
think
that
home
there's
kits. I think you're pretty safe to say that the home kit is always going to remain that colour. That unit like Chelsea have blue, Man City have light blue, Man United have red, Liverpool have red, Tottenham have white. I don't think that will ever change. I think you're
no,
always going to have that kit.
they just add small details
Yeah.
onto it. But
So
the worst one for me that I can think of for Spurs is probably in the mid to late 90s. They had a light blue away shirt which had Spurs written across from shoulder to shoulder across the front, where the lettering sort of came about halfway down the shirt. That was
uh,
that's probably the worst kit I can remember Spurs having.
uh, what are
Apart from
your
that, I think they've good kits.
with regards to kits? When I was looking back at sort of the early 90s, late 90s sort of kits, there was a pattern that emerged that most away kits lasted 2 years. Obviously nowadays they last a year. It's just it's incredible how much I know it's only a year that it's changed, but that a club would stick with the same away shirt for 2 seasons. It just seems obviously in this day and age now that's probably unheard of. And what are your thoughts on third kits? What is the point in a third kit other than the club to make more money?
Well,
But what is
I'd
the point
I'd
in it?
but I don't know whether there's some ruling. We maybe should have had a look at this.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure if there's some ruling where they have to have a third kit available, because it's almost like, what have Chelsea done this year which looks hideous? Is it their yellow top, yellow
well,
shorts and orange socks? Have they done that?
yeah, but hang on,
Yeah,
that's
that
nice
that's
kit.
that. No,
But it's completely
no.
different to the blue, so I never understand why.
Yeah, but sometimes sometimes the club will play in a different colour short to the top, won't they?
Yeah,
Because if the team they're playing has the same colour shorts, they have to change the colour. I unless there's some sort of ruling around it, I would completely say it is purely a
yeah,
commercial
definitely.
reason why. I always find the third kits are almost like the fashionable one,
It's
because
the kit. Yeah, it's the kit that looks like to the eye. It looks very pleasing, but
yes, so
they're
it's the
probably
one
only
you
going to wear it once a season.
so it's the one that as a fan you are more likely to wear out than if you're going to wear the actual like first strip.
Yeah.
But I don't see the need for it personally. I think
No, I just
home and away, bearing in mind 20, 30, 40 years ago, teams used to pretty much play in a plain colour with a badge. So there'd be various teams that played in white or in red or in blue. There was no trim or anything on the kit, and they still managed it then with just a home and away kit.
yeah. It's
So
because when I
I
was
don't know why they don't
it
now.
literally was only in the last sort of 10 years that they've had these third kits. I couldn't find anything before then that really resembled why they felt the need to have, other than like you said,
No,
for money. But it's just
there's
odd.
still some pretty ropey kits out there, but um, the pricing baffles me, but that's another topic. But especially when there's
So
such a regularity in the turnover of kits. But
it's
yeah,
the match
I'm
day kit that you can buy, like there's two different types of shirts now. I don't know if you've
yeah.
seen this,
So
but like a
yeah,
match worn shirt and just a normal replica shirt. It's just silly, isn't it?
yeah. So about 3.5, 4 years ago, I did the White Hart Lane tour, and in the dressing room they had all the shirts hanging up. And the guy who was doing the tour said to us that they were match ready shirts, and you can buy them, but they're probably I think at the time the Spurs ones were 40, £50 dearer than the replica
Yeah,
ones.
the Chelsea ones are 90 quid, and the normal shirt is 60, so it's like 30 quid more. It's just
Well,
you buy a shirt to think that you're wearing the same as the players that you're watching on the pitch, but clearly we've all been made fools of the last 20 years or whatever. But
well,
yeah, I think you've only got to go into Google, just type in best or worst shirts, and you're going to get polls from all different sources of people. Some probably more unreliable than others. You know.
I do. I kind of think that we should end this topic and celebrate the website that is 442.com.
Go
When
ahead.
and I quote again, even Rude Hullet could not pull off the slapdash mishmash of greys, blues, and
I
oranges.
actually like that kit, which is
It was almost too good of a setup for you to say that was your favourite kit, and then actually from the research that I'd done on it, it was
yeah.
voted the
Not
worst
even
ever
joking,
Premier
mate.
League kit.
I'll put this online as well. I actually have a 2 pages with kits that I like, kits that I don't like. Literally, the second kit in on my shirts that I like is that shirt. So yeah,
I'm going to take a bit of a. I'm going to take a grab of that image from the website, and I'll put it online so everyone can see
okay,
the
yeah.
official the worst ever Premier League kit. Okay, so yeah, that was a good topic, Chris. Bit of
Thank you.
fun there, bit of fun, and a bit of mockery, which doesn't
Yeah,
go amiss.
but there are some nice kits. There are some pretty bad kits. I'd say nowadays, there aren't many kits out there that probably aren't as bad as what they were in the 90s and early 2000s. But I
Yeah,
think
but
they
I think
all
that's purely because people would not buy them,
yeah.
and if people didn't buy them, then then well, I mean, clubs make an absolute fortune from them, don't they?
Certainly do.
So
Right.
yeah,
Anyway, predictions.
yeah.
What's happened in predictions?
So I've had a good couple of weeks, Chris. You've let yourself slip slightly.
Yeah.
So we had the midweek predictions last week, where your dad Alan was the guest, which was a pretty high scoring week. He got 15 points, which seems to be probably about the par score, I'd say. I
A
came
lot of
in with
people on 15 at the
25.
minute.
Yeah, there is, and you came in with 20. Then um, at the weekend with James. So I think you messaged me, Chris, about four-ish
Half
on
time.
Saturday. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think at
did, yeah.
half time he was on a really, really high score, and
He
then
was
it
on
all
30.
sort of
He was joint top, wasn't he, for a bit?
yeah, and then it all sort of fell apart, and then the like you said earlier, the Forest Green comeback against Yeovil sort of pushed me right through and got me 10 points on that one. So yeah, I got 25 on that. I think we're actually dead equal, Chris.
Are we? Oh,
So yeah, so
pretty good.
on the predictions table, which is available to view on the website, I've had to go to a decimal point to show how even we actually are. We've actually
Right.
we're exact throughout the 15 weeks. We've got exactly the same score.
Crazy.
It is. but you've been ahead for about the last 4 or 5 weeks. So
Yeah, I had a very good last couple of weeks.
I'm pretty chuffed that I've caught up. So this week, so predictions as normal for the games on Saturday, and we've got Alex as the guest predictor for this round. So we'll see how those go, and we'll put them out over the weekend as normal, and then the table will be updated. So on the website, you can see a full summary of each week's predictions from our very first one right the way through to the latest one, along with the updated table. So yeah, we'll see how this week goes, and then I could be ahead of you, Chris.
Might well be just in time for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rich, the teaser answer. So
I haven't added them up yet, but I'm going to
okay.
tell you what
If you
numbers I
tell me
think
what numbers you think
they
they are,
are.
and then
Lacazette 9, Hazard 10, Lovren 6, Kane 10, Stones 18. I
okay,
know I've
so
got
what was that?
Hazard. I know I've got Hazard and Kane.
Okay,
19,
so
25, 35, 40, 53.
53. So if I run through them with you, so Lacazette is number 9, Hazard
Yeah,
is number 10,
yeah,
Lovren is number 6,
yeah,
Kane is 10,
yeah.
Stones is 5.
Fernandinho's 18, isn't he? I
Not
reckon
sure.
Fernandinho's 18.
Stones is number 5. So
Uh,
the answer was
do I get
40.
half a point?
No, you didn't get anything. I was a
Boo.
bit worried then because you got the first 4 right. So
I've got to be honest.
cutting.
I've got to be honest. Lovren was a bit of a guess.
Uh,
I
still,
wasn't sure about that
did
one.
pretty
I
well.
wasn't even that sure of Lacazette. It was only Hazard and Kane that I kind of knew.
Wasn't bad.
Okay.
A good shot in the
No.
dark.
Yeah. Okay. Good question. Good question.
Yeah, I thought it was
Bit too.
relatable.
I think it was a bit too hard for this
Oh
platform,
no,
though,
no,
Chris. To be
no, no, no,
honest,
no. You got 4 out of 5 of those right. So
that's
yeah.
that's just because of my level of knowledge. Just to give you a heads up, the teaser next week is going to be the worst ever Premier League kit.
I'm gonna get that one wrong then.
Yeah, in your opinion,
Based on information from 442 dot whatever.
it's the place to go. It's the place to go. Their website hits are just going to go up. I think we'll put it on our website actually.
Oh
I
right, yeah,
think
we'll
we'll
put their website. No, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
no, we'll just put the kit. We'll just put the Chelsea kit.
Right.
Anyway, so next week. So next week is going to be our last episode before the Christmas break, isn't it, Chris?
Yes, it is. So obviously there are a lot of games over Christmas. But yeah, we're just gonna have a bit of a break. Because obviously I know what we on now 17 episodes, weekly episodes. So that's pretty good going. And I think schedules probably it might just be a little bit difficult to do it over Christmas with obviously family and everything. So we've decided that next week's episode is going to be on Thursday, so that's the 20th, and then we are going to come back in the new year, possibly on the 3rd of January, which is a Thursday, and then we will in that episode we will review all the sort of Christmas results. So yeah.
But it does give people a chance to catch up on all previous episodes if they have not yet listened to it. But yeah, next week, obviously with the relevance of us having a winter break, our topic is going to be winter breaks. So is it a good or bad idea? Does the Premier League need it? How it works in other countries that currently use it, etc. So that's going to be our special topic for next week.
So yeah, so that is it for this week's episode. So I will see you all next week.
Yep. Speak to you next week, and see you in the knockout stages of the Champions
For
League.
God's sake.